Do you know who Sean Ryan is, the podcaster?
Of course.
Yes. Sean Ryan. And I'm part of his, his back channel, Patreon, and we get previews of the shows that are to come. He's got the top team right now of investigators that have outed this administration. Kamala Harris is the front face of this. Kamala Harris has been involved in what I'm about to say. That can you imagine that this administration has been accidentally giving the Taliban $85 million per week.
Accidentally.
Accidentally. He's
what a joke.
He's quadrupling down. They found out even more. We're putting pressure on the regime. The American people have no idea because, when Sean Ryan puts something out like that, it's getting suppressed. When you and I talk about it, it's getting suppressed. So this is what I want you to do. If you could, and you are aware of what I'm talking of, then I saw your reaction, correct? Are you aware of the $85 million a week?
I am very aware.
Yes, and we, over the next 35 days, folks, we're not going to let the criminals, the government gangsters, as Kash Patel calls them, the government gangsters that are handing the Taliban, making them even stronger. And guess what they're doing? There is a giant sucking sound all the way throughout the Middle East. People are going to the Taliban to get fake passports and instructions on how to make their way up through our southern border, and they're pouring over. The Taliban is getting paid $85 million a week to help facilitate that. So the next 35 days, sir, what can we tell? Because we need all hands on deck right now to get this word out. Every single person hearing our voice, if you're not outraged by that one thing alone, that they're supplying the Taliban, you should be outraged. But how do you take action on that? We share this information. We don't wait for the government. We don't ask them to stop suppression. We, the people, tell everybody we know what this current regime is doing, correct?
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you have to take action, Pete. You know what I mean? Like, aren't you tired of seeing the podium in front of the wall and the typical congressman or senator banging their fist on the podium, telling the world about how this has got to stop? We can't have it anymore. We're going to do something about it. And he, of course, or she, of course, is a millionaire. Of course they are, right? So what exactly is it that those people did for the area when they went to visit the border? Did they do anything for those people while they were there? Of course not. They go there, they set up the podium with the wall as the backdrop, they bang their fists, and they get angry, and they put on a show. But as millionaires, they do absolutely nothing for that town, for that area that they're in. It's a lot of talk. So what the American citizens need to do is you got to take action, okay? You can't wait for the government to do it. Like, if you are an able-bodied human being and you have the ability to do something, then do it.
All right, we're gonna get right to it. We've got high energy this morning, starting out with a great update from Nelson McElveen. Now, listen, folks. Believe it or not, there's an education process. The stuff that you heard Nelson break down, and I actually had a method to my madness. Imagine what's in your water. We suspected fluoride. You heard about fluoride. We conspiracy theorized a pineal gland. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's update you. There's uranium in your water. They're vaccinating us in your water. The elite are getting that filtration system to filter out what they're killing us with out of the water of their farm animals and their family members. That's pretty sobering. So now let's focus on, we're going to triage and focus on the people of Palestine. They were given their pittance of $600 million in a settlement, and I called it hush money. These people are going to die if they continue on the path of drinking that toxic soup known as the water. President Trump did not say, you vote for me and I will rescue the people of Ohio. Vote for me, and on day one, he didn't say that. He's taken action. Somebody that's been involved in this effort to take action, somebody that's been taking action on the ground is my next guest. His name is John Rourke. He's a retired Army Staff Sergeant who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. He's the founder of We Fund the Blue Foundation, a nonprofit supporting law enforcement. He also delivered water to East Palestine, Ohio, for President Donald J. Trump following the train derailment. We're going to get right to it. You're going to hear John as I welcome him to the show. John Rourke, sir.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. And I did mention as we're coming on during the break, we have to have a succession. Because the mainstream media is not going to help us propel information, educate the public on how the eugenicists are going to try to kill us, or how they're going to, hand $600 billion to the Palestinians and just make them go away and get their settlement check. And I call it hush money. The water is still toxic. Their environment's still toxic. A $600 million payment, to me, is almost insulting. But here's my question to you. I'm going to invite you back on as we lead up to whatever of that date of eventuality to help rescue the people of Palestine. Did you ever hear President Trump or anyone that you've been associated with the Trump organization say, well, vote for us and on day one, we will respond?
No, Trump doesn't want to wait for anything. He's a man of action. He's a man of the people. He saw a terrible tragedy happen in East Palestine, and he immediately sprung into action, reached out to me. I own a moving company as well down here in South Florida called Blue Line Moving. And, his campaign approached me about bringing the water up there to East Palestine. I was already about to do that. And when they reached out to me, they said, hey, would you like to do this? I said, I already bought 5 pallets of water. We're doing it. And they said, oh, wow, perfect. Would you like to partner with us on this? And we did. And we brought up 3 truckloads of water up to East Palestine and supplied them with enough water for the entire town for a couple of months. But as you know, plastic bottled water goes pretty quick. So they need a permanent solution. And ever since the day that I left there, when our mission was complete with President Trump, I was looking for another way to provide the people of East Palestine, Ohio, with a better answer than bottled water. So I ran into Nelson's company, Century H2O, while I was out there in East Palestine. And they were bringing up water filtration systems up there and delivering them to the people of East Palestine. And I got to know them and got to know that they're, a great small American business and they care about our country. And they were out there doing the right thing, just like me. And I reached out to them and said, hey, I got this crazy idea. Would you guys be able or willing to, if we can raise some money and help you out? Obviously, they're a small business. We would like to supply every single home in East Palestine with one of your under the sink water filtration systems. Would you be, willing to do so? And he absolutely said yes and answered the call. So October 26th, we'll be back up in East Palestine and we will be delivering enough under the sink water filtration systems for every single home in East Palestine, every single home that wants one. It's a shame because there are people there that don't want it because they are afraid that it might screw up their lawsuit money. So there are people up there that don't want to do anything because they feel like if they take one of these systems in, then they'll be admitting that the water is not right. And that might mess up their financial situation, which is just, can you just believe what the hell is going on in this damn town?
Oh my goodness.
Like these freaking people asked for this crap. I mean, it's pathetic. Joe Biden comes a year later, and when asked, what's it taken so long? Why aren't you there yet? He says, well, I've been traveling. I've been going to this country and that country. Joe, that's not the answer we're looking for. I don't give a shit, excuse my French, about other countries.
Say it.
I care about America and America first. You're like an hour helicopter ride away from there. Just get in the helicopter, get boots on ground, and find out what the hell is going on in this town. But of course not. He puts other countries first, as we well know.
Oh, yes.
And he traveled all around the world. He's worried about Palestine in the Middle East more than he's worried about East Palestine in Ohio. I'm worried about the Americans, the Palestinians that are here, not the Palestinians that are in the Middle East, where probably half the country couldn't even pull up the country on a damn map.
Yeah.
And we're sending money to them. What about the people of East Palestine? Those are the people we care about. So we're going to go out there and help them.
Yeah, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to Mr. John Rourke, who has been in the trenches since day one. I'm going to say this, and I'm from Cincinnati, and at the time that it happened, we've got some people here in the Ohio area, and there were all of these calls early on. Well, the government this and the government that, and I said, stop with the government talk. What about the churches? What about us getting vehicles rolling with water? What about we go there and we put people in our vehicles and get them the heck out and give them a place to stay? It's up to we, the people. We take care of our own. We don't even need to rely on the government, especially when we know that the people that are running our government now will not be there for us, right?
That's a fact. I mean, did you see Pete Buttigieg and how pathetic he is, walking around with boots that have never seen mud, with a vest that he just bought from a Walmart, walking around pointing his finger around like as if this guy knows anything about train derailments? He was a failed mayor from Indiana. He has no idea what he's doing. He was an Air Force officer who never saw anything in the Air Force but the inside of an office. He's a career politician who did what career politicians do. They walk around, they point their finger, and then they're on the first thing smoking back to DC so they can get a Wagyu steak, a nice glass of cognac, smoke a cigar, and laugh about all the poor people in East Palestine. That's what Pete Buttigieg was there to do. And then you juxtapose that to President Trump, who was boots on ground, bringing water, buying food at that McDonald's for all the people, all the firefighters, all the first responders who bravely ran into the area at risk, great risk to their health, to, analyze the situation and try to come up with a better solution than what happened there. But unfortunately, they decided to chemically nuke that town. And now those people are paying the price, and the EPA says, oh, the water's fine. There's nothing wrong with the water. We're all set. But, what's funny about that is, if you've ever watched TV or the news, you always see the commercials like, have you drank the water at Camp Lejeune? If so, please call. So, that's coming for East Palestine. The government is a big fan of lying to the American people. And there's no possible way that water is clean, not after such an explosion and such a derailment like that. It's dirty, it's harmful, it's toxic. And those people deserve better. It's just the problem is that the majority of that town are Trump supporters. And, they're not interested in helping a town of Trump supporters. They're interested in helping a town that can help them in the polls. That's what they care about, and it's disgusting.
It is.
It's disgusting that guys like us have to have this conversation, that me and you have to have a show dedicated to why the government can't figure out how to help the people in East Palestine when they're putting illegal aliens in 4- and 5-star hotels all around the country, and the people of East Palestine can't get a damn place to live during this explosion and during this derailment. They had no answers for those people, no hotels, no VRBOs, no money to them to say, hey, get out of town for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They had nothing. They had Pete Buttigieg walking around pointing fingers, and that's what the government does best. They point fingers and they do nothing.
Let's highlight this one fact. I want to overemphasize what you just said, restate it as many ways as we can. How many residents are there in Palestine, Ohio?
There's about 1,930 homes.
1,930 homes. Okay. How many millions of people have poured over the border and have been trafficked into
estimation 20 million?
20 million. Okay. And would you say that the whole of government under the Kamala administration, I'm going to put it on her back because she went to the border, so now she's the border czar.
Rightfully so.
That she set up an infrastructure to have all of those 20 million people evenly distributed throughout the United States of America, well taken care of with cards, TVs, place to stay, cars, all that stuff. 20 million people, we're saying, right?
Yeah, has to be. I mean, I was down on the border. I've been to the border 18 times in the last 3 years. I've watched thousands and thousands and thousands of people cross the border right in front of my face. I've spoke with hundreds of those people as they were literally crossing the Rio Grande. I've pulled people out of the Rio Grande on multiple occasions. The border is a complete and total disaster, and the people are just pouring across any spot that's available for them to pour across. They're pouring across, and then they're being shipped around the country and placed into places like Springfield, New York City. Obviously, they're all over South Florida where I live. You can't even go into Miami if you don't speak Spanish. It's unbelievable. I went to a Dolphins-Jets game last year, and I went to order food. The person that was taking my order spoke no English, and that's in the Dolphins Stadium. So that's what Miami is now. It's basically become a little Haiti and Cuba, where like if you're not speaking Spanish down there, you can't go anywhere. So they're in the process of taking over our country. A lot of these people are pouring in from third world countries, places like Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the world. No education, no skills. They literally depend on us for every single thing. We have to provide them with food. We have to provide them with shelter. We have to provide them with clothing. We have to provide their kids with an education. We have to provide them with healthcare. They literally can't do a single thing on their own without the government. How does that benefit our country?
That's right. And now let's compare that to, and we'll call it a thumbnail of look at their trafficking distribution network, a thumbnail. Yep. Which is a disaster that took place, 1,900 homes. And what did our whole government do to take care of Americans as far as housing them, clothing them, feeding them, propping them up, and being there for them through that disaster? What did they do?
Oh, they did absolutely nothing. Remember, Pete, that is exactly what the government does best, though. They do nothing. Like, if you're relying on government for your life, then you're in a bad spot. Okay. Like, we need less government because everything government touches turns to crap. Everyone knows that, except for the Democrats. They want more government so they can get more free checks. But unfortunately for the people of East Palestine, they haven't even received any of that. You know what I mean? So, look at the hurricane that just rolled through South Carolina. Where is Joe Biden there? Where is Kamala Harris there? They're hiding, right? They don't care about those people either. Yeah. So it's not just East Palestine. It's all over the country. The lack of caring about American citizens and putting Americans first is astounding. Yeah. The people of East Palestine, one way that you get to wealth in your life is through real estate, right? Buying a house, stay in it for a little while, make some improvements, sell it, make some money, get another one, keep doing that. What are the chances that people in East Palestine are going to be able to sell their homes? Do you think that there's going to be a big real estate boom in East Palestine going forward? So all of these people that own homes literally can never move because no one is going to buy a home in East Palestine after what happened there. Is that factored into the thought process of how are we going to take care of the people that live here? No, of course not. They just want to make this thing go away as fast as possible.
And John, you hear it most recently, a lot of people saying that they're suffering the health consequences. I don't know what's going on with our switcher there, but the health, sorry about that.
You're fine.
We're hearing from people in Palestine recently, with the announcement of the $600 million, hush money payment, who are saying that they're suffering health consequences, but they're second guessing even themselves. Could it be because I smoked, or could it be because of this? And they're going through the list because they're trying to put the monkey on the back of, life circumstances, when in fact, this disaster has accelerated all of those things. All of the things that cause us bad health. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, come on. An entire tanker full of vinyl chloride was lit on fire and exploded and then rained down on that place, and everyone's just fine. Get out of here. That's so ridiculous. Let's just have some damn common sense when we're talking about stuff and just be real about it. Okay, there are going to be people that are going to develop weird cancers if they're not already, birth defects, miscarriages, you name it, tumors. It is coming, unfortunately, for the people that live there because they didn't have a choice, okay, to get out of there. The government keeps telling you, everything's fine. Yes. We have this controlled demolition that basically we're going to do on this. It'll burn off. The water's fine. Everything's fine, right? That's what everything's fine as our literally our country is melting into pieces here. Everything is fine though, Pete. Just look the other way. Oh, wait a minute. P. Diddy got arrested. Forget about it. Forget about what's going on in the world. Look at this shiny object.
Yes.
This is what they do best. They just cover things up. They let the media cycle run through, of which obviously they control, and they keep moving. That's it. They don't care about those people. That is obvious.
That's right. And John, you're going to pardon me I'm not interrupting our flow, but we're not limited to just Palestine, Ohio. Palestine is very important, and we're deploying. We also have currently, and I'm going to interject this into our segment because Mark Robinson, even despite all the attacks he's getting, He's not saying vote for me and I will save North Carolina. I'm going to put this in our segment. Everybody get the word out, okay? We America Firsters, step up to the call. And we're going to give an update on what's going on in North Carolina. I think as you watch this, you're going to hear from Mark Robinson, who's running for governor, and then you're going to see the absolute devastation that he's dealing with in North Carolina. Here it is. Let's go to that clip right now.
Lieutenant Governor Robinson, we're still up here in the western part of the state. We're up here in Buncombe County right now, one of their distribution centers for the supplies that we've been bringing up. You can see right here, these pallets that we have laid out here, they're empty right now, folks. We're getting ready to put some supplies on them, guys, but we still desperately need stuff up here for these folks. These folks are still clamoring for stuff. And guys, we haven't even traveled to some of the other counties even further up, where maybe even be in more dire straits. So we need all the help that we can get up here with supplies. Now, guys, again, please do not travel to this part of the state. Travel is very treacherous. We have some professionals, some sheriff's deputies, some National Guardsmen, other people, volunteers who will bring in the supplies up. Contact the Franklin County Sheriff's Department. That's where we want you to drop off your donation, your goods, and we'll see that they get up here and get into the proper hands, guys. We have been working around the clock since 7 o'clock this morning. We've been on the road. We've been down here on the ground. We've talked to a lot of great people, folks. I'm telling you, this is a terrible situation, but the one thing I'm more proud of than anything is the strength of North Carolinians. They're bouncing back, they're fighting through this. And guys, it's going to be a long recovery, but we can do it. So guys, thank y'all, and God bless you for everything you're doing for us. We appreciate y'all.
And watch this. You're not hearing Mark Robinson say, when you vote for me, on day one, I'll deal with this. Right now, he's acting as a governor. How do we know? Because we contacted him. He deployed helicopters to go rescue Amanda. And it's happening right now. Look at the devastation that is going on right now out of Chimney Rock, North Carolina. May God bless these Americans that, sir, I mean, I hate to politicize such a thing, but you know what? We have to make it a political comparison, you know, because how does the administration respond in Palestine? How does the administration respond to a crisis with the border here in the United States of America compared to how we take care of Americans? How does Kamala Harris, what does she say? Vote for me, and on day one, I will save your life and bring your grocery prices down. Really, what are you doing today, John Rourke? I want you to hammer this home, sir, because I'm sick and tired of these people sending me emails saying, vote for me and I will investigate. Vote for me and I will do. What are you doing right now? Like what John Rourke has been doing every single day, dating all the way back when you were in uniform, right? Serving our country. Hammer this home right now, would you please?
Oh, these people have no sense of selfless service. They don't even know what that means. Those words are foreign to those people. They're not interested in doing anything that does not help them. And that is a major problem in this country. As you notice, Donald Trump is for the people. He wants to help the people. He's good. Like, he doesn't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like, he could be enjoying his golf courses, Mar-a-Lago. He has, a supermodel for a wife. His kids are excellent. His grandkids are amazing. He could be enjoying all of those things, but he's out here fighting for the American people. You're not going to see Kamala. You might see Kamala Harris show up in that area 6 months from now. Obviously, that's what they do. They're very good at showing up to things that they should show up to immediately, very much later down the road. That's what they do. But that's typical Democrat, Democrat leadership. That was a real leader that we just saw there. Mark, he was speaking the truth. He's down there, boots on ground, trying to do everything he can in his power to help those people. But ultimately, what's going to help the people of these areas the most are other American citizens.
Amen.
Okay, because if you're relying on the government to help you, it's going to be a long time before you get that help. What they're going to need, and what is happening right now, I know plenty of people that already are bringing flights, helicopter flights, loading trucks up with canned goods, generators, water, everything, diapers, clothing, and bringing those up there. I've responded to numerous hurricanes in the state of Florida with my moving business and my trucks doing the same thing. It's desperately needed, but those people can't wait on the government. They're going to handle it themselves. And that's what Americans do. We fight for what we believe in. We don't take no for an answer, and we help other Americans. And that's what it's all about. And that's unfortunately what the government doesn't understand, is that they feel like they are the be all end all of everything. And without them, you can't do anything. And that's what they try to make voters feel like, is that they want you so badly on that government tit, because once you're on it, it's very hard to get off of it. And they know that. And once they have you on it, you're never going to get off, and you're going to vote for them. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I would be surprised if Kamala Harris showed her face there. She understands that the people in those areas also are not big fans of hers. As you can see, like Tim Walz showed up to the Michigan game and they booed him pretty much out of the stadium. And then Donald Trump shows up to the Georgia-Alabama game and the entire stadium is cheering for him. But they're going to try and make you think that Kamala is up in the polls. It's a joke. It's ridiculous. The only reason why they would show up there is for a photo op, kind of like Kamala Harris going to the border after she's let 20 million people pour across. A lot of those people during COVID, when they were forced vaccinating thousands and hundreds of thousands of Americans, making them get the vax, so you would lose your job, or you couldn't work for the government, or you couldn't do contracting work. You couldn't do any of those things if you didn't do this for them. And that's just kind of that's what they do. That's what they're best at. Okay. Yeah. They want you to do what you're told and wait for their help. And unfortunately, in areas like that, you can't wait for the government's help. You gotta help yourself. And that's what Mark's doing. And that's what many of Americans are going to be doing.
That's right.
Showing up to the to North Carolina, to Georgia, to these areas that are affected, South Carolina. And they're going to get the job done. It's a big mess up there, but there's nothing that the American citizens can't handle and will handle. That's a fact.
John, I'm gonna fill this next couple of minutes here because I want you to emphasize this point. And then we're gonna get to not necessarily politicization, but let's show the contrast between who, and these are diverse, equitable, and inclusionary people, when in fact they're not. They're the least. We are more so DEI, without attaching us to that very negative connotation of DEI. And I'll bring that point up. But sir, you were a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, and you served tours overseas in a combat role. Did you not?
I did.
What was your MOS?
I started out as an 11 Bravo in the infantry.
Amen.
I was in transportation for a while, and I was also an Army recruiter.
And transportation, by the way, I don't want to gloss that over, ladies and gentlemen. When you hear transportation, one of my younger brothers, we'll call him, he's a Marine Corps brother and a family member just about, and he was a motor pulley, right, that drove fuel tankers throughout Iraq in a combat zone. Probably one of the top, most dangerous, jobs. So transportation, a very, very important role in the military in a combat zone. Absolutely. And sir, you in a combat zone, it was an important time. You were serving our country. You believed, and people thank you for your service, of course. Would you compare, as far as the level of importance or the order of magnitude, your service in a combat role to what you're doing right now in serving our country and the work that you're doing to help against our domestic enemies that don't want the best welfare for half of America, at least?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm doing now is I'm actually helping Americans right as they need the help. I'm deployed to a combat zone. Sure, I'm out there fighting for my country, trying to kill as many terrorists as we can to eliminate them from the world. So things like, October 7th don't happen in Israel. But the problem is that you're never going to kill them all. And it's a religious fanaticism. They will never stop. Please explain to me how after 22, 23 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Taliban is stronger than they have ever been. They have never been stronger than they are right now. They literally have a military that is better stocked than Australia's military. They have a bigger Air Force than Australia does, all courtesy of the United States taxpayer. After 20 years, thousands of deaths, tens of thousands of service members missing arms and legs and fingers with traumatic stress. It never ends. The list goes on and on and on. All of those people for nothing, because the Taliban literally has never been stronger, because we left everything that we had there to them, including airstrips like Bagram, okay, which would be key in a war against China. We just let them have it. And what do you know? China's running that. So what I'm doing right now, going to the border, I've rescued almost 200 dogs from the southern border, because that's something no one ever talks about. People bring their dogs with them on the journey. And then when they meet a border patrol agent, they have to, the dogs are not allowed in the facility, so they just discard the dogs. There are tens of thousands of dogs and cats stranded all along the southern border. I've gone down there and rescued almost 200 dogs. We've cleaned up 128,000 pounds of garbage in 5 cleanups. Wow. 3 of those along the southern border in Eagle Pass, Brownsville, and Del Rio. It's an absolute disaster area down there, and that's another part of America that's been completely and totally forgotten about.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You've been there. You've got firsthand account. Just like I was discussing with you, I went to Springfield, and I did highlight the fact that in every city in America there are satanic cults that do sacrifices, and there are individuals that eat dogs, cats, or whatever they can get a hold of. Did you witness anything like that in those big camps that were down on the border?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we were in Del Rio, which I was on Tucker Carlson for exposing that story, of all the people, the illegal Haitians living under a bridge in Del Rio, what I saw and what I'm about to tell you is insane. I mean, there were women giving birth underneath the bridge in Del Rio, washing their babies off in the Rio Grande. They were catching small animals, trapping animals, skinning them, and then cooking them over an open flame to survive. They were chopping trees down in the woods to make teepees and lean-tos to sleep under. You had newborn babies crawling around in the dirt, 110 degrees out in South Texas. It was like nothing I've ever seen. And I've been to some pretty gnarly places around this world. And that was right up there with some of the nastiest stuff that I'd ever seen. I mean, there were some areas of Iraq that were far cleaner than the southern border. When you're talking about the amount of trash, clothes, pills, you name it, all these areas are environmentally protected. They're all being destroyed by the millions of people that are crossing the southern border, and no one cares. They just keep coming. It never ends. And they're destroying the state, especially the people in South Texas. Who the hell wants to move to Del Rio, Texas? Why would you want to move? People are trying to sell their land that they've had generations of land on the border, raising cattle and growing cotton and et cetera, all gone. And they want to get out of there the fastest way possible.
Wow.
And some of those people are selling their land to the Chinese. No one wants to buy it except for one person. And that person is the Chinese. And they're buying up that land in droves because the farmers can't farm on it any longer because of thousands of people crossing their fields, leaving trash behind, leaving fecal matter behind. And they're destroying their fields. So these people have had enough. They've had enough of the knocking on their windows at 3 a.m. of people screaming, "Let me into your house. They're chasing me. They're going to kill me. Let me in." Their little kids are scared. Those people are done. They're selling their land. And the only people that want to buy it are the Chinese. There's businesses down there flying Chinese flags on the southern border. If you go to my Instagram, you can see those pictures clearly. We ripped down the Chinese flag. We replaced it with an American flag. And I'm just not going to take it anymore, man. I've been fighting for this country for my whole life. My dad was a retired police officer in New York City. He was in the Army. My sister's a police officer. Like, we are a family that serves. We are a family that cares about this country, and what they're doing to this country under this administration it's just heartbreaking. They're destroying the country from inside out.
And sir, when I say we don't want to politicize, but then again, we have no choice but to politicize, because the political the disparity between the two political parties and the disdain that one party has over the other. I don't think is reciprocated by us. But I want you to join me with 35 days until an election. What I'm going to say to you,
Right.
I know it's going to energize you. You may not know this, and you can do your research on this. Do you know who Sean Ryan is, the podcaster?
Of course.
Yes. Sean Ryan. And I'm part of his, his back channel, Patreon, and we get previews of the shows that are to come. He's got the top team right now of investigators that have outed this administration. Kamala Harris is the front face of this. Kamala Harris has been involved in what I'm about to say. That can you imagine that this administration has been accidentally giving the Taliban $85 million per week.
Accidentally.
Accidentally. He's
what a joke.
He's quadrupling down. They found out even more. We're putting pressure on the regime. The American people have no idea because, when Sean Ryan puts something out like that, it's getting suppressed. When you and I talk about it, it's getting suppressed. So this is what I want you to do. If you could, and you are aware of what I'm talking of, then I saw your reaction, correct? Are you aware of the $85 million a week?
I'm very aware.
Yes, and we over the next 35 days, folks, we're not going to let the criminals, the government gangsters, as Kash Patel calls them, the government gangsters that are handing the Taliban, making them even stronger. And guess what they're doing? There is a giant sucking sound all the way throughout the Middle East. People are going to the Taliban to get fake passports and instructions on how to make their way up through our southern border, and they're pouring over. The Taliban is getting paid $85 million a week to help facilitate that. So the next 35 days, sir, what can we tell? Because we need all hands on deck right now to get this word out. Every single person hearing our voice, if you're not outraged by that one thing alone, that they're supplying the Taliban, you should be outraged. But how do you take action on that? We share this information. We don't wait for the government. We don't ask them to stop suppression. We, the people, tell everybody we know what this current regime is doing, correct?
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you have to take action, Pete. You know what I mean? Like, aren't you tired of seeing the podium in front of the wall and the typical congressman or senator banging their fist on the podium, telling the world about how this has got to stop? We can't have it anymore. We're going to do something about it. And he, of course, or she, of course, is a millionaire. Of course they are, right? So what exactly is it that those people did for the area when they went to visit the border? Did they do anything for those people while they were there? Of course not. They go there, they set up the podium with the wall as the backdrop, they bang their fists, and they get angry, and they put on a show. But as millionaires, they do absolutely nothing for that town, for that area that they're in. It's a lot of talk. So what the American citizens need to do is you got to take action. Okay. You can't wait for the government to do it. Like, if you are an able-bodied human being and you have the ability to do something, then do it. And that could be something as small as going down a highway and picking up trash or cleaning up a park. But no one volunteers to do anything anymore. It's like we get trapped in our homes, we get trapped in our bubbles, and we don't know about anything that's going on anywhere else than inside of our bubble. And that's how nations fall. When people stop serving and helping other people and taking action, that's the rot that festers and eventually collapses the country. People start to care more about themselves in every single facet of their life than they do for anyone else. That means that no one else is helping anybody else.
That's right.
You have to take action. That is the way that we get our country back. It doesn't matter who you vote in. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. They're going to do what they want to do. You, American citizens, have to expose, like Sean Ryan is doing.
Yes.
But then you have to do something. You actually have to go out and help people. That's what I like to do. That's what I've done with the Make America Clean Again initiative, which the Going to East Palestine falls under my Make America Clean initiative. You know, we want to clean up the water. We want to clean up homelessness. We want to clean up addiction. We want to clean up the trash that is left behind in our streets, in our cities, our towns, along the border. That's what my mission is about, and my initiative is Make America Clean Again.
Wow.
I picked up 26 tons of garbage in inner city Baltimore off of 20 blocks in the Easterwood district of Baltimore, 26 tons of garbage off sidewalks and alleys. Can you even imagine how bad that is? It was unbelievable. 2 gentlemen overdosed 15 minutes into our first day on the job cleaning up the streets right in front of us. A lady ran out of her house with Narcan because they keep it by the doors in Baltimore because so many people overdosed on the streets. And we had to Narcan these 2 guys who OD'd and were dead.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, no pulse, right at our feet, literally dropped dead. And we Narcan these 2 guys back to life. That is what's going on in our inner cities. That is what's happening in New York, in Baltimore, in DC, in Philly, in Boston, in Detroit, in Chicago, in St. Louis, in Houston, in Dallas, in San Francisco, in Phoenix, in Los Angeles. It's the same exact thing going on in every single one of these cities that are liberal run, Democrat run. You have zombies living all over the streets, shooting up drugs in front of children, in front of playgrounds, in front of schools. There's trash piling up. There's rats everywhere. There's people dead that have been laying on the street dead for days that no one has even called anybody in to remove these people. There's human beings with their skin rotting off of the bone, laying on the sidewalks of Philadelphia as I'm talking to you, and no one is doing anything. But hey, we have to send money to Ukraine. Hey, we have to send money to all these places that aren't our own cities that are literally being destroyed by the Harris-Biden administration, by people like Mayorkas and Buttigieg, all of these people that only do what's best for them. No one does what's best for the country anymore. That's the problem.
John Rourke. Okay. I take it, and I don't know about your business background. I'll find out about that. You can answer that. But I take it you're a successful business owner, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So you took that success and you gave back. You take action. You have the means to be able to do that. You built your business to have the means to be able to do that. Now, you responded. You had tractor trailers rolling with water to Palestine. And I'm so sorry that we here in Ohio were sitting there for 2 weeks complaining about the government response when the people were sitting at home online when we should have been deploying with our own personal vehicles to respond.
Yes.
And I apologize. So that's okay. Lesson learned. But you responded and you gave back. Now, President Trump, listen, I'm just about a President Trump historian. As soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I bought a herringbone suit, a red tie, Johnston & Murphy wingtips, and a briefcase and the book, Art of the Deal. And I had a big pen and that's how I started day one right out of the military. And he was kind of like, he taught everybody marketing, sales techniques, and he would want to learn from somebody that's building skyscrapers, of course. But guess what? Since that day when I got out of the military in 1988, I've seen President Trump always give back, teaching the skills that he acquired, silently working behind the scenes to help people out. His organization was built, and I worked for the Trump Network. The people that he had around him, he treated with respect. You can't build skyscrapers if you're treating people bad. You won't have your granite delivery made on time. You're not going to be able to fill those. So for decades, all right, this is not a one-off. President Trump has the means when he sees that the water needs to be cleaned up in Palestine. This isn't some political stunt, okay? You responded with tractor trailers. President Trump now is responding, and the whole Trump organization, from what I understand, are going to be there on the 26th, are responding that anybody that wants to clean up their water, that they're going to be able to get a filtration system that is, I understand, tried and true. It's already been vetted that this thing will clean up their water. He's not waiting, and he's not making a political maneuver, is he?
No, he's a man of action. He knows that the people desperately need, a better solution than just here's some money. You know what I mean? I don't know about you. I have 4 children. I would not give my children a bath in that water coming out of those faucets.
Oh no.
Not drink water from the faucet in East Palestine. That's horrible. That's those people's town. That's where they've been raised. That's where their parents are from. And that's been taken from them and has been told by the government that it's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine, right? Everything's totally fine, but it's not fine. Okay. And those people, they need clean water at the minimum to be able to drink from. Okay. And this is what we're providing to them, is the ability to know for certain that the water that I'm about to pour out of this faucet, that it put into a cup and go into my mouth and down into my stomach, is clean. And they know it's clean because there's a filtration system under their sink that is making sure that it's clean. And that's what it's all about.
And I want a point of emphasis here, because you have firsthand experience. So, and I have firsthand experience. Everyone always tells me, hey, Pete Santilli, you're a Trumpian. I know President Trump and he endorses this, that, and yeah. I always hear that everyone knows Trump. Everyone wants to sell their stuff and they're grifting. So I have to do proper due diligence. For instance, with something like a water filtration system, when I got the call and I was connected through J.R. Majewski, I said, okay, what's up with this company? Who are they? What are they doing? I did my due diligence, and I said, holy cow. Hold on a second here. I spoke to Nelson. I said, holy cow, you did the same due diligence. The EPA has basically done that testing and said the water going in, it could be toxic soup. Once it's filtered, the EPA has certified this, A. And B, did you go through that due diligence to say, all right, if we're going to be handing out water filters, it's got to be, not some organization just making false claims or selling snake oil, right?
That's right. Yeah, of course. They were there. They did the tests. They got the water from the rivers, from the estuaries, from the creeks. They got water from people's faucets. They tested it, and it came back that it had vinyl chloride in it. And his filtration systems remove that vinyl chloride, and that's a key element that they need. Okay, that's what happened there. Vinyl chloride got in their water. It's poisoning them. It's one of the most toxic chemicals known to man, and currently it is in their water. I don't care what the EPA says. They're full of it. I don't really know anybody that believes the government. I mean, please, the government's telling you that this is. That Flint, Michigan. Do I need to say anything else? Like, we can go Camp Lejeune, like Hawaii, the water with the gasoline that's spilled in the water there from the military base. They tell those people the water's clean, where they're literally lighting their faucets on fire. So it's like, enough already. At this point, like, if you were just sitting there staring at the TV and hoping that things are going to get better, it's not. Okay. American citizens need to step in and do the right thing and take care of these people. And right now, Trump is an American citizen. He's not elected to office.
That's right.
He's an American helping Americans. And that's what it's all about. And that's the message that needs to be put out, is that you can help. Don't think that just because you're at home and you work for you're a pipe fitter or you're an electrician, that you can't help out. Okay, you can help out. You just got to figure it out and take action. You got to show up and say, how can I help you guys? And if it's only one day, if it's 2 days, if it's an hour, doesn't matter. They need everything that they can get. And they've been forgotten because so many things have gone wrong since that happened, that it's hard to remember the people of East Palestine. But I remember, because I was there and I saw what was going on there. I breathed in the air. I felt the burning sensation on my skin. You know what I mean? I talked to the people. I understand what's going on there, and it's disgusting. And Nelson and Century H2O and We Fund the Blue, my nonprofit, are stepping up to take care of these people.
Absolutely.
That's what needs to happen.
And again, I'll say it again. Thank you, in the context that we just spoke of. Thank you for your service to our country, John. Really. And listen, I've got that, Marines. You've run into Marines. I've got that Marine Corps attitude. You're a fellow veteran and an Army dog. I know what approach you take to taking care of business and taking care of your fellow Americans. I am going to be with you. You couldn't have a more vigorous Marine, because you know how Marines are. You want them right at your side. When
Hard chargers.
Yeah, baby. We're in the virtual equivalent of combat right now against an adversary that does not like America. They despise Americans. They hate America, period.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to bring something up here, and then we're going to end on this note, on a political note. But then again, it impacts every one of our lives. These people that are woke, they're DEI, all this stuff. I'm just going to highlight a story recently, just to show you how disgusting these people are, that we are way more DEI than they are, because we love the lifeblood of America, which is a small business owner, and we're very inclusive. We don't check you at the door for who you're going to vote for to determine whether or not we're going to serve you. J.D. Vance actually showed up at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant.
Primanti's.
What's that?
Primanti's
restaurant. J.D. Vance was denied service at an Italian restaurant. These are leftists, ladies and gentlemen, that are supposed to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive, right? And you would think that with that attitude, if you're on that side of the spectrum, you would say, you know what? I'm in the restaurant business. I'm an Italian. I hate your politics, but I know you're going to love my food. Come on in, right? And be inclusive. Now, what do? They shut them out. Can you imagine what these people have done? And on a much grander scale, they have so divided and destroyed our country that politically you need to make a decision right now. Who truly are the most diverse? Have you ever denied service in your businesses to anybody that was a Democrat? You didn't want to bring your moving trucks to them, or you only delivered water to the people in Palestine that, were voting for President Trump. Did you ever even have that in your bones to do something like that?
No, but I absolutely hate moving Democrats, and I won't hide that fact. I live in South Florida, and I want nothing to do with moving Democrats here. But if they want me to move them, I will. I have the only openly conservative moving company in the United States, Blue Line Moving, and our specialty is moving people from the Northeast, mainly conservatives, to South Florida. But that's how I market my business. I market my business as conservative values built in.
Great.
That's what we're about. Mm-hmm. But I've never declined service to somebody. That's ridiculous.
Right. And you know what? Actually, I like that you said that. That you're just openly that way. That's not how these people operate. They proclaim publicly that they're DEI, that they have the exclusive rights to take care of all black Americans, when in fact, they're the cause for our discussions of the plight of the black American. They keep saying, vote for me and we'll improve the lives of people in Baltimore. Rinse and repeat. Has that ever taken place?
No, I went there. Yeah. It is a disaster area. I went there when Trump was calling it a rat-infested shithole. Yeah. And I could not believe what I was seeing on the TV. And that motivated me to go there and see it firsthand and then do something about it, right? Yeah. Like I've said before, this is the problem. Like, people have to actually do something about it, right? Like we can't just talk about it anymore. Mm-mm. You actually have to get involved and try to right the wrong. Okay, and if we all do that in our own ways, then we can solve some of these problems on our own. We are just getting to a point where the government is so large and in charge that we just let them do it, and they always mess it up. I mean, I'm a veteran, right? I go to the VA hospital. It's a disaster. Government-run healthcare, of course. Name another hospital in the United States that people go to kill themselves there. There are none. And there's a reason behind that. It's called the government. That's why veterans go to VA hospitals and blow their brains out in the parking lot in their cars to prove a point that the government is running healthcare here, and I can't get an appointment to do what I need to do to get myself right. And I'm going to go to the hospital and kill myself to show them how bad it really is there. How pathetic is that? There is no other hospitals, Pete, where this happens at. It's called government-run healthcare, and it sucks. Okay? It doesn't work. The government messes up everything it gets involved in. Everyone knows that. It's a joke. We have to take our country back ourselves. We're the only people that are going to save our country. American citizens. Amen. The government is not here to help you. I don't know how much more I can scream that from a mountaintop. They're not. Look at the border. Disaster. Look at every major city in the United States of America. Complete disaster. Okay? It never ends for these people in these major cities. That's why I started the Make America Clean Again tour. We're starting January 25th and 26th, the weekend after Inauguration Day. I will be traveling to Washington, D.C., and we are going to clean up Washington, D.C. And I will be doing 12 large city cleanups in 12 months, from January to January of 2025. Wow. And those cities that I spoke about earlier, the Baltimores, the Phillies, the New Yorks, the Washington, D.C.s, I will be going month by month to a different city, and I will be cleaning up trash. I've partnered with a rehabilitation facility They're going to send some counselors out with me to hopefully get some of these homeless, addicted people off the streets and into their rehab facility. That's called making America clean again. That is cleaning up the streets. That is cleaning up homelessness. That is cleaning up addiction. That's what I'm doing. I'm the farthest thing from a millionaire. Okay. I'm an average, everyday working man. I have a small business, which is tough to run if you've ever run a small business. And you know Friday's coming and you're like, man, I got to make payroll. If you're listening out there and you own a small business, then you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. But I still make it happen because I can, and I'm motivated to do so. And more people need to do that. And it's about doing something for the country. You can do it. We can save the country together.
John, during this discussion, we're going to end on this note right here. You've inspired me. Okay. You're going to do that, and that's awesome, and we're going to support it, all right? And then, of course, on top of that, help support your efforts, and then let's even expand upon it. I'm going to put something on the screen right now, and I think this is what I'm going to commit to right now with LFA TV, all right? You guys, right now, Sentry, we're going to bring and highlight the reason why Nelson is actually... we're going to give one of those units away, and he wants to help us grow our X channel. Why? Because we need to get the word out. We're not just going to do on October 26th, when President Trump descends and provides water filtration for the people of Palestine. I want a continuing effort right now. I want to get a person that can share the word about this filtration system in Operation 3,143 counties. We will begin an initiative on the 26th from this day, I would say, that we need people in 3,143 counties to get these systems out to every single household, to spread the word about them putting vaccines in our water, putting uranium in our water, putting fluoride in our water, and we're going to... And I'm going to say... that as of this morning, I declare that President Trump, president or not, okay, in his capacity as a human being, is the water czar, okay, is the water czar. He's leading an effort. He's not telling you vote for him and he will come to your rescue. We're going to do it now. Let's take action today. We, the people, can clean up our water. As a matter of fact, Nelson said they can serve us poison. I'll take it out, right? Because we know he can't stop them. They're trying to kill us. So, you know what? Try to kill us. Put whatever you want in the water. And I say Operation 3143 from here on out to put these people out of business. Period.
Yeah, that's a fantastic opportunity that people should be jumping on because they are trying to kill us with our water.
They are.
I mean, why the hell is fluoride in water?
Oh, my goodness.
What the hell is going on? How about this? How about you just send us water? We don't need anything put in it. Just clean the water like you're supposed to, like we pay our taxes to have happen, and just send us regular old water.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need you knowing better for the people than the people. We don't need anything extra in it. Just clean it and send it to my damn faucet.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah, that's right. And we're, again, ending on that positive note. Ladies and gentlemen, John, I'm going to bring you on. We're going to do further updates, and I look forward to meet you on the 26th. I will be there. I will support you every day from here on out. And guess who else is going to do that? Is our audience right now. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say make this go viral, I'm talking about let's put these eugenicists out of business. They should fear the day that we all spread the word and we have tens of millions of people that we put filters on our system and say, go ahead, send us your vaccines. They're worthless in my house because we just blocked them. Go ahead and try to kill us. Get out of our lives. Sir, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for inspiring me.
In 1776, the founders of this nation gave us something that had never existed before: a government by the people. We've had our ups and downs, learned and grew, and bled for freedom. Over time, we, the people, became distracted by the success that our hard-fought freedoms brought us, and bad people saw an opportunity. as we traded our birthright for cheap entertainment. Our rights, our voice, and our power has been whittled away. Until now. Introducing Republic, an entirely new kind of social media. Republic focuses on local, giving activists, organizations, candidates, and small businesses the power to inform, organize, and act, all in a single place, enabling you to be the local hero your community desperately needs. No more covering up the truth. No more advertising-funded news. No more data mining. This is how we rebuild, rekindle, and restore our republic.
My fellow American patriots, I'm Colonel Douglas McGregor. By now, we should all know that as a talk show host, Pete Santilli has been fighting to defend our constitutional republic for over 13 years. As a U.S. Marine whose oath never expires, he's now calling upon you to do your part, to inform your community and step up as an American hero to help save our republic from being overtaken by communism. Join today and save 33% off your membership. Join now. Visit republic.us/Santilli. That's republic.us/Santilli.